Happy Juneteenth, y'all. What y'all on today? I'm just now leaving the parade, seeing what other festivities I could get into. What? Wait a minute. That is Life Coach CW. What is he doing down here? Hey, sir. Hey, Life Coach CW. How you doing?
Oh,
What you doing down here?
how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm just down here for one of the Juneteenth programs they have going on downtown.
Okay.
How did you know it was me? I got on this doggone mask.
You know I can find you anywhere. Now you know this.
Oh,
You got any speaking engagements today for Juneteenth?
I don't have any speaking engagements right now. I'm just down here in the spirit of it all. You know me, always trying to be a part of the celebrations and part of just being there with the people. So that's what I'm down here doing right now. I don't have any speaking engagements nothing going on. So what's going on? How you doing?
I'm good. I really don't even have any questions for you today. I'm just here to celebrate. I ain't gonna even press you for your opinion, for no guidance.
Yeah.
Just really here to just breathe and celebrate all the momentum we have, the pressure we are applying. It's a good time, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. I was just here talking to one of my friends about Juneteenth. I was telling him that you got to really think about Juneteenth, and like they signed the Emancipation Proclamation. A president signed this to free the slaves, and everybody, all the slaves didn't know they was free. You had slaves still down in Galveston, Texas, still under servitude, under the 400 Years of Slavery Act. And 2 years later, they get notified of this. But you got to think, like, when they freed the slaves, when they came and actually told these people they was free as well, when they told our ancestors they was free, like, what did they supposed to do? I don't think they never gave them gave us or gave our peoples the 40 acres in the mule. So they never provided any financial assistance. They never provided any educational assistance. They never provided any adequate housing assistance. So what did our ancestors supposed to do? They just told the people they was free, and then you just go away. Free to do what? When we've been under servitude for the last 400 years. That's a process within itself. Allowing people to go free. Because you have to think, our people was enslaved, not just physical wise, but mentally wise as well. You know, it was a mental abuse took place with the lynching, with the whipping our people, keeping them out in the sun all day, picking cotton for free. So I was just thinking about the Juneteenth celebration, and I was telling my man, I was correlating the slavery. I was correlating Juneteenth of a president signing the Emancipation Proclamation, and people not knowing until 2 years later that they free, to mass incarceration of today. Because, like me, I was locked up for the 100-to-1 racial discriminatory drug crack law. It was many men mass incarcerated behind the crack law, the 100-to-1 racial discriminatory crack law. And you had a president, the first black president, Mr. Barack Obama, who passed the Fair Sentencing Act, changing the 100-to-1 racial discriminatory crack law to 18-to-1, but yet Congress didn't make it retroactive. So men had to sit in prison, the slaves or the inmates had to sit in prison for another 10 years to get their freedom of a law that was passed in 2010. I sat in jail, I sat in federal prison 10 more years before I was able to be free, set free. But yet they had told the slaves, like back in the day, that they was free. But I wasn't able to go free. So in 2019, another president come, Donald Trump, and passed the First Step Act to allow men like me to go free. And in 2019, they set me free. But it's still many black men and women who sit in federal prison that these laws has been passed, these laws and acts has been passed by presidents that haven't freed the inmates or the slaves in federal prison right now up under the Mass Incarceration Act due to the drug on war or due to the war on crack and blacks. You still have a lot of black men and women that's in jail up under the 100-to-1 racial discriminatory crack law that they haven't let that they haven't let loose or haven't let go free. But my point to it all is that no different than how they set our ancestors free back in the day, and then provide them with any adequate financial assistance, with any adequate housing, with any adequate education, is the same way they do the inmates or the slaves right now in their federal prison systems. They just walked up and told me, hey, you free. They just let me go one day. July 17th of 2019, they just walked up and said, hey, you free, you able to go. Walk me out the building. But they didn't provide me with anything. They didn't provide me with no financial assistance. They didn't provide me with no job. They didn't provide me with anything. But just like back in the day, they let the slaves go. And all the slaves knew, all the thing the slaves knew at the end of the day was to go back to the slave master, or to go back to doing what they was known to do, was being a servant or a slave. It's no different than right now today when they let the inmates or the so-called thug or the criminal or the street dude or the nigger or whatever they want to title us, the inmate, they let us go free. And that's why most men just return back to what they know, what they was doing previously, and they wind back up in the same situation they was in, just like our forefathers back in the day. They wind back up doing the same old criminal activity, wind back up in servitude, wind back up in slavery. So we must understand that, as I was telling my friend right here, we must understand that it's cool to celebrate. It's cool to come out here in March and have your signs, Black Lives Matter, and throw up power to the people fists. That's cool. But we have to think about what changes really must be made. What are the concrete changes we are seeking? We must be putting action behind all these marches. We must know this is what we want. We want economic independence. We want fair housing. We want to be able to receive small business loan without high interest rates. We want to receive tax-free incentives as they give all these other people that come over here to this country. Because we should receive tax-free incentives when we in pursuit of certain endeavors. Because while our ancestors already paid the taxes, our ancestors already built up America for free. So we shouldn't be getting taxed anymore because our ancestors already did this. Not only did our ancestors do this, but y'all kept them in slavery after. Y'all kept them in slavery many, many years after they supposed to be out of slavery. Not only that, then you all came back and implemented the 13th Amendment. And if you do a crime, you become a slave when you go to jail. And then you begin to launch different wars to target black people and put them in jail, which make them back slaves again, because it's not white men and women in these federal prisons or in these state prisons. It's majority black peoples. So we are paying again a debt. They bring all these corporations and all these institutions into the federal prison, and men that's in federal prison working for these corporations for free or for little money. Not enough money to take care of yourself in federal prison, they paying these different corporations. From the army all the way down to making beds and t-shirts. So we must understand that we must have action behind these things. We must have change behind these things. Social change. Criminal justice change. That black people here in America want to enjoy life, want to be able to drive, want to be able to walk freely just like every other race in this country. We want the law enforcement to conduct themselves how they conduct themselves to every other race in this country. You really hear about police brutality in Chinatown. really hear about police brutality over in the Mexican neighborhoods or over in the Italian people neighborhoods. You really hear about a police killing a Chinaman in Chicago or in America. You really hear about a police killing an Italian over here in America. You really hear about those things. Why is that? But you hear a lot about how they treat the black man and woman over here in America. And we just asking to be treated fair as well. Let us rightfully join into America. That the Emancipation Proclamation state as the Constitution state, and as all these other new laws that has come forth state. It's real simple. We can march, we can stomp our feet, but we need change, real change behind this, and we know what the changes are. And I just stated them. And they are changes that should be evident. They are evident changes. They're not nothing complicated or nothing that we don't already know. So I just thought I'd give you that while I was sitting here getting prepared to go to the Juneteenth program. I'm glad that Juneteenth is being recognized as it's being recognized right now, because a lot of people don't know about Juneteenth.
Yeah, they did.
Or wasn't really didn't understand what it entailed or what it was about.
Yeah.
And it's not just about barbecuing and hanging out and talking stuff. You know, black people are supposed to celebrate Juneteenth before they even think about celebrating the 4th of July.
Absolutely.
Because we was enslaved. We didn't have no independence. We wasn't independent from anything. We was enslaved. We was slavery. We was enslaved during the 4th of July. And that's just that simple. And another thing I want to add that I don't think a lot of people pay attention to, the Confederate flag and the United States flag are both the same. We suffered under both of them. As a matter of fact, we suffer more right now up under the American flag than we do up under the Confederate flag. Because the Confederate flag has been disbanded to such an extent, and the American flag is still standing, and the American flag is what we are suffering up under right now. Not the Confederate flag. Both flags are wrong. Both flags are wrong how they treated the black man and woman over here in America. That's just the bottom line. So the Confederate flag should be obsolete, and the United States flag should be redone to include black people here in America. Bottom line. I thank you, man. I'm glad you caught up with me, man. You have a good day.
Even though I didn't ask you for anything, you really gave me something to lead with. I appreciate you.
All right. You have a nice day, miss.